right? So it wasn't as if it were obvious that we were going to succeed far beyond.
I think first of all, I should say that I do not expect to be involved in all.
Me, when you set out on a journey, your mindset determines who you bring on board, how you approach it, what you set up, what deals you do, or which investors you get. In a zero revenue company, if you think 0 million, you're thinking a certain way to tactically achieve a small short-term goal. $0 billion, you start building from day one the company and the people you'll need to build the company. One of the things people seldom realize when they're starting up, you don't ever plan what you're going to do. You build a plan to plan. And who helps in that planning as you plan iteratively, as you evolve your strategy and your tactics? That team, which I call the kitchen cabinet of a company, is the essence of what your company will become. So one of my favorite tweets I like tweeting out is, a company becomes the people it hires, not the plan it makes. And that's grossly under.
What about where you did start? Is there other advice that comes to mind that you give to other people that want to build products that you can take away from the early days of Facebook?
Yeah, you know, I always think that you should start with the problem that you're trying to solve in the world and not start with deciding that you want to build a company, right? I mean, the best companies that get built are things that are trying to drive some kind of social change, even if it's just local in one place, you know, more than starting out because you want to make a bunch of money or have a lot of people working for you or build some company in some way. So, you know, I always think that this is kind of a perverse thing about Silicon Valley in a way, which is that, you know, people decide often that they want to start a company before they even decide what they want to do. And that just feels really backwards to me. And, you know, for anyone who's had the experience of actually building a company, you know that you go through some really hard things along the way. And I think part of what gets you through that is believing in what you're doing and knowing that what you're doing is really delivering a lot of value for people. And that's, I think, how the best companies end up getting made.
Well, first of all, I think if somebody is doing something that is useful to the rest of society, I think that's a good thing. Like, it doesn't have to change the world. Like, you know, if you're doing something that has high value to people, and frankly, even if it's something, if it's like just a little game or, you know, some improvement in photo sharing or something, if it has a small amount of good for a large number of people, I think that's fine. Like, stuff doesn't need to be changed the world just to be good.
An infamous comment, either on that poster, a future one you made, probably that one, where someone's like, I think this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. Like, don't these people know that wget exists? You can just use that. No one needs a company for this.
Right.
We send that around to other founders when they get demotivated because people shit on their idea on Hacker News or Reddit or something else.
Well, we were getting it from all different directions.
So, actually, we can jump to that because I think that's a really interesting point. One of the things I respect most about you is you have just like kept doing your thing no matter what noise there is in the ecosystem about Dropbox this or Dropbox that, whether it's like, I don't need this because I can use wget, or this company's overvalued, or whatever. And now you're just like this behemoth, and everyone's like, well, we were wrong about Dropbox. How do you handle just constant negativity from people saying this isn't going to work or anything like that?
Well, I think the first thing is you have to recognize that is always going to happen. And we experienced that from the day we founded the company, actually before that, and all the way to now. And when you zoom out, you realize that a company like Apple, quarter after quarter, can post like the most revenue, most profit of any company in business history.
It's over.
And the next day is like, but they're really dead now. So you have to appreciate that that's human nature and that's just going to happen. I think where it gets a little harder is you have to simultaneously have thick skin and be able to tune things like that out. But you also have kind of thin skin, and if your customers are unhappy or team's unhappy, you have to respond to that. So that's a weird dynamic that you have to handle. But I think it starts with just getting some perspective that that's always going to happen.